We're just about to the moment of truth, and it is quite spectacular. All right, okay. I'm fighting through some health issues. I've got like, I got some serious anxiety about this, but I'm like, look at that dike in the Vishnu basement complex. Oh my gosh. I just want to say, I love my daughter. I love you, Emma. I love you the most. Besides you, none of this means shit to me. But with that said, this is going to be a pretty spectacular hike. So let's freaking do this. And we begin. We're going to expect a lot of ice and mud in places where the shade has been.
We might be putting crampons on.
Put your crampons on.
It's crampon time now.
It doesn't look icy, but it is.
So, I do have a crippling fear of heights, but I have more of a fondness for rocks.
Yeah, it's coming.
So in order to get my legs to do this and deal with heights, I had to swig some whiskey. We got some of that peanut butter flavored whiskey. And I mean, fucking hey. Kaibab limestone, Toro Weep, Coco Nino, Hermit. This will be the first layers we go through. I don't have time. We got a late start. We had to repair some of our gear. And we have basically 4 hours to get to camp before dark anyway.
So this is a fun picture, Ken.
Donkey Pete.
Oh, look at that. I'm gonna take a picture here. Isn't that dope? Look at these nodules. I think they might be chert. This is the Kaibab limestone. Permian shallow ocean, I think. Permian? I think it's Permian. Oh, look at that. These calcite growths.
This is limestone?
Yes. Now I believe we are crossing into the lower Toro Weep or upper Coco Nino sandstone. This sandstone is the source of much contention in the world. Some people think that this is the evidence of Noah's flood. Some people think that it is a sand dune desert type environment. And you could definitely see that sand has been moving around here all those millions of years ago. You can see some of the cross bedding. Some iron ore right there, some oxidized iron fluids in there. And we're making good progress. So since we all know that the earth is really flat, all of this is a lie. And this really is evidence of Noah's flood. Ooh, look at that. Cross bedding. This is the Coco Nino sandstone. It's the big, thick, white layer that you see all around on each side of the canyon. Very prominent. It's a couple 100 feet thick here. It runs a huge difference. This was a huge desert. Look at that. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous sandstone. It's got here and there, it's got some light iron staining, but nothing intense. Down there is the Hermit Formation. Some people have stated that all the iron in the Coco Nino leached out and got caught up in the Hermit Formation. I don't know what the source for that info is. Sounds cool. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's bullshit. I don't know. Either way, I need to make time.
It's like the rate.
There's an actual spike in my heart rate the closer I get to the cliff, and it's super phobic of heights, but at the same time, I mean, dude, whoa. There's a great unconformity, esplanade, sandstone, rising and falling sea levels, red wall limestone. I'm sporting some major nerd wood, still in Coco Nino. So, if you're like me, you're scared of heights. You're scared of heights and your legs lock up. And you run the risk of falling. This is how we conquer that. This is peanut butter whiskey bullshit, but it tastes good. Now we are hundreds of millions of years jump into the red wall limestone. So this is old. I don't remember how many 100 million. But we're going to get into this big, massive, cliff-forming limestone. You know what? You know what? I'm lying. This is not the red wall limestone. This is the
riboflavin layer.
The riboflavin, exactly.
Sideways canyon rather than straight ahead like you've been getting.
So here's Skeleton Point, and we are about to descend the red wall limestone. Now I believe I'm getting to that several 100 million year old jump into the past of the Devonian shallow seas, most of the continent underwater. But that's, I mean, isn't that the story? Isn't the entire canyon a case study in rising and falling seas? So we're underwater, we're over water. When we're over water, we erode away, which is why there's no Ordovician, no Silurian rocks here. When we're exposed at the surface, what do? We erode. Big, deep-ass canyons. Just like that. What I can't wait to see, though, is down there, it's that great unconformity and the metamorphic rocks at the bottom, couple billion years old almost. But I'm going to stop here, take some pictures, have mild leg pain, but I'm hydrating and electrolyte stuff.
I think that the halfway marker is actually more than halfway.
I can't help but lag behind when I'm just looking at all this stuff. But I am lagging behind, which is not good. We might actually be in the dark and not finished. In fact, it's very likely we're going to be in the dark. I was thinking I was going to stop at every layer here and look at it, look for all the stuff I've read about. not. It's not happening. It's just my knees are not cramping, but they're getting tired. And I mean, look at all of that. We got a long way to go. So it's time to buck up, fucking hit the trail, and just see what happens. All right, so this is pretty damn cool. Right there, like right there, there's a little piece of the Temple Butte Formation, which is, I believe it's Cambrian. And the red wall limestone that we just traversed, or just descended, is sitting right on top of it. Now, this is a major unconformity, several 100 million years in time between those two. So we are now in the Mojave limestone formation. I don't know if you can see it very well or not. It's a much thinner bedded limestone, and here's the sequence I'm more familiar with. Down there you've got obviously the Precambrian rocks. You're overlaying the minute you start seeing horizontal, that's the Tapeats sandstone, Bright Angel shale sitting on top of it, and then you have this Mojave limestone formation. It's all part of the same sequence. The sea ended up encroaching on all that, flat, eroded flat Precambrian rock, and started building up different sequences, different water depths, and every time I stop to talk about rocks, they leave me. I gotta go. So right now we are descending down to this really slope forming Bright Angel shale. And we're gonna start making our way towards the river. The river's right there, and there's a rest house. There's one last rest house down there. There's an emergency phone, so if you're ever fucked down here, okay, there is the GU right there, sitting on top of this Hakatai shale formation. You can see the angular unconformity there. That is something like, how many billion? It's 1.2 billion. Down below it's 500 million. You do the math. But that is the great unconformity right there. And then right there you see that sandstone layer, the Tapeats sandstone, sitting on top of the Vishnu schist right there. Right here, this is another Proterozoic formation. This is the Shinumo sandstone. You see how it's dipping somewhat, following that trend. This is the Grand Canyon supergroup, Proterozoic, Mesoproterozoic, 1.2, 1.3 billion years old, and fucking stoked. Holy shit. Oh, another thing is, when the Tapeats was being laid down, when the sea came in, a lot of this Shinumo and Hakatai made islands, so the Tapeats never got laid down on top of it. And you can see that where the Bright Angel shale is sitting on top of the Shinumo. This was an island in the Cambrian time, so while life was exploding in the oceans, this was just kind of an island, just kind of like the last remnants of terrestrial land surrounded by a shallow ocean. Badass. So another thing, right here, there's a fault, which is why that one little block of Tapeats is sitting below so far below the Bright Angel Shale. I mean, the Bright Angel Shale is laid down on top of that, but, well, trust me, it moved down in that direction, and the fault line is right there. It's a decent sized normal fault. So you can see it pretty clearly, the Hakata Shale. By the way, we're about to cross into that. We have maybe the first layers of the Shinumo sandstone, which is, ooh, look at that. Look at that. The first layers of Shinumo, it looks like a gradational change. I could be wrong. I'm often wrong. But look at that. Those blocks of Tapeats sandstone are just kind of like being undermined as the soft, very friable Hakata shale disintegrates beneath it. It's really spectacular. I got a bunch of still pictures. These will all go on my Instagram, of course. If you give a shit, you can follow me there. But holy shit. And there it is. I answered the call. Here I am. Are you happy? I answered the call. Look at those goddamn leucosomes. Oh my god. It's the Vishnu basement complex. This is where large chunks of terrain were welded to the proto-North American continent almost 2 billion years ago. It all happened right down there. Everything got smashed up and melted and remelted and resmashed. Series of island arcs, they think, came crashing into the continent. Subduction zones, volcanic eruptions, metamorphic lava flows, metamorphic sandstones, metamorphic shales, bing bang boom, all smashed together. There it is. So you get a palpable sense of how much shit this continent went through. Going back into the billions of years, the violent upheavals. Oceans came, oceans went. I mean, here we are about to cross into billion-year-old rocks. 1.8 billion-year-old rocks. These are 1.3 billion. Down there, it's 1.8 billion. Spans of time where things didn't get deposited, they just eroded away. Angular unconformities, regular unconformities, non-conformities. It's been a lot of shit that happened here, and these are slightly less than technical terms, but hey, when I was doing my degree in geology, I thought I was going to be swinging on vines over lava flows, you know, with an armful of dinosaur bones, you know, and a pocket full of gold nuggets. It's going to be like outlandishly Indiana Jonesy, you know, but instead I work for environmental consulting firms where basically everybody hates you, your bosses hate you, your coworkers hate you. It's cutthroat fucking corporate bullshit. I put dirt in fucking sample jars so we could test for contamination. So I think I've earned the right to sit on 1.8 billion year old rocks and curse a little bit. And on top of all that, I'm relatively happy. So yeah, just gonna keep doing my thing. One last video for today. We're losing light and we need to start hot-footing it. So I'm going to show you some ripples in Proterozoic sandstone. And I'm going to show you this dramatic gorge that is the Grand Canyon. Major bucket list being checked off right now. Here's my viddy selfie. I'm pretty excited. My legs are fucking sore as hell. We descended almost a mile. We still got another 1.5 miles of trail left. And then we're gonna set up camp. We're gonna drink whiskey. That's what we do. Hasta la vista, baby. And now we are heading out again. We're gonna hike along the river for a bit. Then we're gonna head up Bright Angel Trail to Indian Gardens. It's about a 5-mile trek. But once we set up at Indian Gardens, we're gonna hike another 2 miles without packs on to Plateau Point and get a good view of all of this. But I am loving the Vishnu basement complex. You look at all these disarticulated and intruded, foliated, just this metamorphic madness here. It's pretty spectacular. And of course, there's the buzzsaw, the Colorado River. Oh man, this is scary. It's scary but not scary. Fuck this. Ooh, GU. All right, picture time. This portion of the Vishnu is called the Brahma schist. And you can see just how twisted it is, partially melted, some definite magmatite action. It's intruded by these, which I believe are the Zoroaster granites, or perhaps just some melted schist. Gets worked, squeezed up. This trail is not so bad yet. Some soft sand, a little bit of rocks to step over. But now we are starting to go up, and it will undoubtedly become pretty challenging. My legs are pretty damn sore from yesterday, but it's a different mechanic. We're going uphill today. We're going halfway up, I believe, Indian Gardens. Anyway, moving on. Still ascending through this Brahma schist, and part of my slow travel is based on non-stop observing rocks. Distinct chemistry differences, distinct structural differences. It's pretty wild. Now we begin our berserker uphill trek.
I heard a beat. Is that you?
It's been sort of slow going, you know, it's been uphill, but gently tapered, and now getting to some switchbacks, and we're gonna work our way out of the schist up to the tapetes. My heart rate is 109, but I'm standing still. It's gonna get up to like 160 by the time I get out of there. This is the last, until we go to this scenic overlook called Plateau Point. This is the last of the Vishnu basement complex. Granites, schists, gneisses. And the Yavapai island arc chain that collided with Laurentia 1.8 billion years ago produced all of these. So the continent was still growing in the early Precambrian.
I got some nice 2 million year old aged whiskey for you.
Sounds good. We are drinking bourbon today. We ran out of Screwball. It's also the last of the shade. And, well, enough wasting time. So, all my Vishnus are gone, and we are in the Cambrian tapetes sandstone once again. And it has much more order and structure and predictability to it. There are some definite cross beds. There are some definite grain size variations. This was a beach just under 500 million years ago. This was a beach, and it was the first of many. Well, maybe not the first, but one of many that came and went as the now mature continent of Laurentia was bouncing around the globe. Fuck. And I am very happy that we are camping again tonight. Oh, look at that. Look at those cross beds. Those gravel lenses. So sweet. Scale. Get a picture of that with my real camera. Look, a deer just hanging out. This is Indian Gardens Campground. We're at the so-called halfway point we got all that to go tomorrow. But we're gonna set up here tonight. And I'm rather excited to not be going all the way up today. And yeah, I'm just about wiped out. We're getting ready to leave Indian grounds, gardens, whatever, campground. We've got some cloud cover. We've actually got some, see if I can find any more. There were some mammatus clouds churning overhead. Those are my favorite clouds. Today we have 3,800 feet to ascend.
Nothing else goes in the trash, right, guys?
No, just my life.
Your life? Okay.
3,800 feet, over 4.5 miles. Fucking A. Gonna be moving out pretty soon. Much colder and much windier today. If you look way out there, that's Plateau Point, the point we did not go to. Instead, all of us just rested our legs. I don't really care. I got good pictures when we were first encountering the GU from the North Kaibab Trail. Got very similar pictures to that. So today is all about gaining elevation, getting way to the top. And we have a time limit. And it's very intimidating. But worst case scenario, I need to maintain 1 to 1.5 miles an hour. It's a little more than 4 miles from here to there. And obviously the elevation change you're looking at. Let's do it. We were at the halfway, or not halfway, we're at the 3-mile rest house, which is very close to the top of the red wall limestone before you get into that Supai, maybe? Supai, Hermit, Coco Nino, Toro Weep, and then the Kaibab. And when you get to the Kaibab, you're going to be thirsty for victory. Heart rate is 99. That's bullshit. It's got to be higher than that. It's been a straight uphill, switchback navigation. This rest house is pretty cool. Water is not flowing, but we knew it would not be, so I have extra water. I have electrolytes. It's pretty cold, maybe 45, somewhere between 45 and 50, I don't know. Not terrible for a fucking New Yorker though. I mean, forget about it. Overall, doing well, and spirits are up. I'm going to eat a berserker dinner tonight. Berserker. Making a bit more progress here. I have no idea how high I am, but for your reference, that's where the Coco Nino contacts the Hermit. I remember that from the other day. It was a different animal going down. It actually hurts more to walk down this step than it does to walk up that entire path. Heart rate is, I don't know, fucking fast. But I'm also getting up to elevation. It's harder to breathe. But overall, I think I am in decent standing health-wise. And this is the view you get, you know, on this trail. This is Bright Angel. This is the view you get. You just get it from obviously different heights, higher and higher as you go. And presumably once we get to the very top, which is right there teasing us at this point, it will be the grand view of the Grand Canyon. So we're nestled in a little narrow indent to the side of the canyon here. But this is pretty amazers all the same. Tranquility, peace. Man, that's the top right there. We're close enough now that it's just kind of teasing us.
I know.
Right?
It's like you're almost there.
You're almost there. You want to say hello to my audience? My vast audience? What's your name?
I'm Hannah, at Diabetic Hiker.
Diabetic Hiker, is that your hashtag?
That's my handle.
Nice. Diabetic Hiker.
Didn't die.
I'm not sure how the two are related.
Didn't die.
That's always good. I didn't die either. I'm high blood pressure, stage 3 hypertension hiker. That should be my handle. Sudden stage 3 hypertension. Overnight it happened. And then anxiety happened. And then a 400-pound weight landed on my chest.
Now you just got sad.
Then I just had the sads for a while.
Sad story.
You guys already eat snacks?
No. We're getting there. I'm in the middle of the Coco Nino, Kaibab on top. Getting there, just a progress check. Little filler. I'm not doing this long. I sound like I'm making prank phone calls. Hey, what are you wearing? Now, we're on the last couple switchbacks here, but there's a cool observation to make. Bright Angel Trail switches back and forth down this this offshoot canyon. I don't know what it's called. Is it Bright Angel? I don't know. But the reason this is here is there's a big normal fault. So if you look over here, Kaibab limestone is higher on the left than it is on the right. It's because the right side has been down dropped along the fault line. Well, shit. I believe that I just hiked the Grand Canyon, down and back. I believe that I have just checked a major bucket list item off. One that took far too long. The last switch. Come with me. Gusty, windy, no more rock shelter. Wearing spikes, it's icy. Now it would really suck to come to the very top just to get blown over the edge. It's kind of what this wind feels like. But long story short, I made it. Proof I made it. I'm alive. I did it. And here's the last look. Kaibab, Coco Nino, Hermit, Supai, Red Wall, Temple Butte if you're lucky, Muave, or Muav, Right Angel, Tapeats, Vishnu, unless you get the Shinumo and the Hakatai and the base. I'm glad it didn't take me over 1 billion years to do it, but it has certainly been almost 2 billion years in the making. Did it. Done. Rock on.